What's up, guys? It's your boy Jamaica here, coming at you with a special video series. I'm calling this the Penny Dreadful Master Series. So, what do we got going on here is Penny Dreadful has a very long history. We've been in a format for over a year now, and we had some sweet decks come along with every season. So, figured in the homage of the Gauntlet of Greatness series by Raina Bueller, what if we just took some of the best decks from each season and pit them against each other in a fun little exhibition tournament and see who comes out on top? So, with these deck techs, I kind of want to go over kind of like the history of Penny Dreadful for those who haven't been around for all the time. I've been around for every season, actually. So, you'll get a little taste of what every season was kind of like, and you kind of go through the journey of Penny Dreadful with me. So, I'm going to talk about season one a little bit. Uh, a guy named Binary Swordsman started this format as an ultra budget option. Popper is actually really like the common quote unquote budget option, but online Popper is really expensive. Like some decks go for like 50, 60 tickets, and that's a lot for a lot of people. So Binary thought of an idea. What if we just use the MTGO market and made a format consisting only of the cards that costed 1 penny ticket, and thus Penny Dreadful was discovered. Made a Reddit post, got some people on the Discord, and they were fairly organized. But for the most part, I always like to call season one the Wild West of Penny Dreadful because there were really no tournaments. There was no way to really like determine what deck was better than others. Everyone was just playing against each other. Everyone was just brewing and making decks, and we had like a search engine. I think we were using Magitex at the time, and we had they had a website. PTMTGO.com was the very first website, so you had the full list of all the cards, and they had like a legality checker, so you could figure out if your deck was legal. But how do you figure out if your deck was better than others? Well, you had to play, so people just kind of started just playing each other. I got this deck, I've got this deck, let's play. So what came about that was the leagues. One of the first competitive outlets was the leagues, and the old leagues were not done by what we have now, paying for JetForMagic.com. We were using a guy named Lord Zombie created a Google Docs spreadsheet of all our league lists. So he just had it all automated. You just kind of like inputted your deck, and then you had to like type in the player that you played against, and you guys got to play each other. You got to see each other's decks, which is like the league is now. And that was just to kind of like fact check each other. But it was like it worked, it worked out. And this deck, from crazybaloth, was the very first 5-0 of these leagues. So I want to talk about a little bit Astral Slide and crazybaloth a little bit. Crazybaloth is an old friend of mine. He was one of the first like deep brewers, I would say. He would make these like crazy piles of cards that I never appreciated, but he did well. So maybe there's something to his madness, but this is one of his like crazy little Naya Astral Slide decks. So we're just gonna go right into this deck. So Astral Slide is one of the more iconic cards of Magic's history. I think it won a Pro Tour, I'm pretty sure, and it was like one of the talks of the town for I think it was an Onslaught. That was the first set. But yeah, whenever you cycle a card, you just exile a creature, and then it comes back at the end of the next end step. So you've got a bunch of cycling stuff, and also Lightning Rift is kind of like a finisher of this. So Lightning Rift, when you cycle a card, you pay 1, you just shock somebody. So you've got a slew of cycling cards. I'm not really sure what the cycling cards were like back then. Like I said, I joined in season 1, but I joined sort of like in the second half of season 1. So this deck actually predates me. I'm just kind of like guessing. So Edge of Autumn, that's a pretty good like cycling card. It's probably the freest cycling card. You just sack a land after you have like 5 lands. Renewed Faith. There were several aggro decks out there, so Skating to Life or Getting 6 in a pinch was good. FTK is good to blink. Just kill the creature, keep going. I think Acidic Slime and Cloud Goat were like the money blinkers, where you just kind of like wanted to blink these things over and over and just create a massive advantage. A couple land cyclers, because there was a 3-color deck, so we had Valley Ranet, that would get most of the other colors. And Edge of Autumn also like kind of fixed mana beforehand, so and Slice and Dice just kind of like a little board wipe. But I think the Kree Justice was probably the best cycler card. The Kree and Starstorm. Starstorm, another board wipe S card. A little expensive, but the Kree seemed really good too. It was a cycler and it got you something. So, all in all, it was a pretty interesting deck. I mean, like, the other decks that were popular in Season 1. I remember the Nim Death Mantle Composite Golem combo was legal. Personally, I played Dragonstorm. I really love that card. Because Dark, I mean, there were, in terms of like the iconic cards that were in Season 1, there were things like Dark Ritual, Duress, Cruel Ultimatum, and Living Lore were both legal this time. So that was a deck too. That was actually one of the more popular decks. And there's like mono red cards. There's like Sulfuric Vortex that was legal, and just like all the other slew of like 1 mana 2 power creatures. So it's interesting to see that this deck was the first deck that was actually the 5-0 deck. I can't really speak much of the sideboard. Like I said, like, you know, this was probably for more of the control matchups when the FTKs were really bad. You brought those in. I'm actually surprised this is the main deck, because it's like a really cheap cycler for the most part. I think you really want a cheap cycling. Wall Resurgence probably from other aggro decks, as with the Real Faith. Crib Swap, I would say is for the Cruel Lore decks, because you need to kill that Living Lore turn 4. That was such a problem card in that format. But yeah, this deck was really sweet, you know. And the way it's going to work, so I just want to talk again about the way the little mini tournament works I said in the beginning. So it's going to be an 8 player bracket. So with these deck decks, you're going to see all the 8 players. And then in the next kind of like section of the video series, you'll see the bracket and you'll see who's getting stacked against what. So thanks for watching with this episode. And the next episode, we'll go into Season 2. You'll see some of the Season 2 decks. So I'll catch you then.